All right. So we'll call the order our general council commission meeting at 6:13 p.m. We'll move right into public comment. So if there's any members of the public wishing to speak, they can do so now. I assume Mayor and Roger, you guys will speak on, you want to speak later on particular items? Okay. So I don't see any other members of the public. So we'll close public comment and move right into approval of minutes. So we need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 3rd, 2022 special meeting.
So moved, Councilman Nocera.
All right, seconded by Linda. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of approving those minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Cool. All right, so we'll move right into our new business. So Justin, do you want to kick us off on these? We have 5 job descriptions.
Sure. We will start off with the, so we have a series of them. We're kind of updating in a bulk here, but we've got one that's the assessment aid technician 2. Roger, the deputy assessor, is going to be speaking to that in a little bit. Followed by the director of public works, deputy director of public works, just as a update to the department because of the vacancies, the director of economic community development because of the vacancy, and the director of health because of not only the vacancy but also the statutory requirements that have been updated. So going forward with the assessment aid, we recently had a vacancy within that department. It caused the administration of that department to kind of look and see what their needs are for the office. They found that backfilling it with a current, we have 2 jobs, an assessment aid 1 and an assessment aid 2. They're just 2 jobs in the office, but one does more complex role and requires certifications. Roger, I'm going to give it to you now to kind of lead off and say as to, where and why we're going in this direction.
Yes, thank you very much. Committee, like I said, Roger Palmer. I've never been in front of you before, deputy assessor. Like Justin said, we do have 2 clerk positions, and we do have a vacancy. However, to give you some background, over the past several years, the assessor's office has lost 2 positions. So because of that, the duties of what formerly was the assessment aid 1 was virtually identical to what was being done by the assessment aid 2. So in speaking with Justin and the administration, we decided to post this vacant position as an assessment aid 2. And the reason I'm here today is we want to make very small changes to the minimum training and experience requirements for this job so that we can make it easier for candidates to apply and get a more diverse panel of candidates. Just to let you know that the 2 small changes are, one is the ability to obtain and pass this assessment aid administration course 1A and course 1B within 2 years. Previously, they had to have it to apply. There is nobody in the city that could apply that is working for the city. And there are very few people who probably live in the city that even have that. So we felt, we could train them up and get them going and help them obtain that certification. And the second change is you needed a valid driver's license, which 15, 20 years ago, the aides were going to houses to take elderly applications. That hasn't happened in 10 years. So we felt there's no need to have a driver's license. There could be a valid candidate who might want to take the bus. And those are the 2 changes. Are there any questions?
Thanks, Roger.
Yeah, Councilwoman Salakia, go ahead.
Along the line, I read all of the job descriptions and changes, but I don't have them in front of me. So this is kind of a question for Justin. One of them had the ability to get a driver's license within
60 days.
60 days. Is this one? Or which one is that?
No, it's because any job that has a requirement to actually physically drive will require that driver's license. This one, that what Roger was explaining, that years, like 15, 20 years ago, we
Yeah.
those aides were required to drive around. This one no longer is, so we don't want to limit our pool by.
Oh, I
So-
understand that. And for a long time, we were told that you had to have a driver's license, even if you were stuck in an office. But which one is it? The one when we come to it, you'll tell me which one it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's Deputy Public Works.
it might be just
Okay.
Public Works.
I don't have a problem with
Okay.
taking that out, or I just couldn't remember exactly which one it was.
Okay. Jean, any questions for Roger or Justin? I think so. All right, so we'll move to a vote then. Motion to approve the job description for assessment aid technician 2 assessment office. So moved. Councilman Salafia. Second. Jean's still there. Councilman Sarah, are you with us? So am I actually allowed to second the motion or no?
I think you can.
Can I?
I think you can.
Okay, I will second Linda's motion. Assuming no further discussion, all in favor?
I'm still on.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. Jean.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to unmute here.
Oh, all right.
Gene,
So
do you
I
want to
second the
second the
motion.
motion?
Jean will
Yes.
second.
Okay.
All right.
And Roger, good explanation. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, all in favor? Approving the description, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, Jean. Thank you, Roger, and appreciate you giving us the background.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being in front of the committee. Enjoy the good weather.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll move right to our next job description, Director of Public Works. We also have Deputy Director of Public Works. If you want to speak to both of them, that's fine.
Sure. What you have in front of you, I'll do kind of both.
Sure.
Because they kind of both play into each other.
Yeah.
Some simple edits are being done to the job descriptions. For the Director of Public Works, we'll start with those. Those are more basic updates. It's just kind of cleaning up language in there about staff operations and city assessments, reviewing of workers' compensation claims. The big nut of the change is going to be we've taken a look, and the mayor can speak to this in a few minutes. We've taken a look at the requirements of the department and for the city, and we realized that we are going to go back to a previous system where the department had actually had to be an engineer, a licensed engineer. It was once taken out 2004, I would assume. I think it was around the time frame. So we are putting that back into the position. Also, this is also one of the positions, Linda, that says it required a candidate driver's license. And now we just say within 60 days of appointment. And that's if any candidate outside of the state was to apply, that it wouldn't be a requirement of having a Connecticut driver's license to apply. And then so that's the basic update for the director position. The deputy director position, we have a number of things that we are going to be updating. One, we realized a equity issue within the department. The position currently requires for the person in the role to be a licensed engineer doing engineering work, which conflicts with the chief engineer position, which is directly below it, which gets paid more. Essentially, they're the same licensing, they do the same work, but one's actually the boss, but the other one's being paid more. And I'm surprised it's taken us this long to find that there was an equity issue that was going on there. So we are correcting that equity issue now with this. The union was in support of that. I don't know if Mayor, if you want to talk to anything leading up to this point.
No, just I think you covered it. We went back and forth quite a bit about whether to have the engineering requirement in one position or both or neither, or I think we ultimately came to the decision. Certainly, we want licensed engineers to be in that is my hope as we go through the recruitment process, is to have licensed professional engineers in both of those positions. And something that's been brought up in other contexts many times is that the more in-house engineers we have, the more in-house engineering we can do, and the less we have to contract out, which is one of the primary things we do contract out at the moment, at considerable expense. So that will be essentially we are upgrading the position, of course, to resolve that equity issue, but at a very minimal cost. I think will be a long-term cost savings, in addition to just being helpful for the operations of the department. So, but yes, happy to help answer any questions.
Councilman Slafia, go ahead.
Okay, just to be clear, are you upgrading the Public Works Director?
No.
The Deputy Director is being upgraded
All right.
because he was more than, and he's required to, both of those are going to have engineering degrees.
Yes.
And then,
As it stands right now, there's a chief engineer who's a grade 19 in UPSU, one of the
Yeah.
bargaining positions. The deputy director of public works is also required to be an engineer. It makes a grade 18. So we're going to at least bring them up one salary grade to make them equal, and at least job salary. The other issue is we want to also keep a disparity of the director and the deputy director. You don't want to make the pay too equal, because then it'll cause other equity issues. So there's still a two grade buffer between the 19 and the director, which is at 21. That's not being changed.
thank you, because if I pull it up, I lose you guys.
So there
Yeah,
is, just so you know,
I'm not
that will create a fiscal impact, but it's actually a very minute one. It's going to be shared between, if it goes forward and approved for June 1, just so you know, Linda, it's like a $500 impact to this fiscal year because of the 4 weeks, and then a $4,000 or $5,000 impact over the next fiscal year. So that's about it.
It's reasonable. It's just that,
Which
like I
again,
said,
the position is vacant. It actually might not even be an impact because wherever we hire somebody in for that position, if it becomes a vacancy,
right.
it's possible that there could be savings even more.
It's just that I'm not looking at the actual.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure you know.
Thank you. Good. Do you need a motion?
Well, here's the thing.
Through the chair,
Carter, do you want me to go on with the director of economic and get them all done at once, or do you want to stop now and vote on at least those two?
Let me just pause for a second because I thought Councilman Nacera.
Yeah, through the chair, I did have one question.
Sure.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you.
You can. So, Justin and Mayor, I have a hard copy in front of me, and I see where the edits are, and many of them are because it hasn't been revised in a while, I think. So just bring that up to date. But the most significant, I just want to make sure, is the for director appears to be under training and experience.
That's right. Yeah, that's really the main substantive
the change. Yeah.
Correct.
And the union, as you said, had a chance to look at it and vet it, and they fully support it.
So the director position is non-bargaining. The only one we had to run with the union is the deputy. And this
is the deputy director, right? That's right. Okay. It certainly it looks very appropriate to me, because that's the most significant part, and it advances the qualifications for the position now and in the future. So I support it for the director. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. All right. Yeah, Justin, if you'd rather just go through, do economic and community development and then director of health. we can just keep on moving.
So next on the agenda was Director of Economic and Community Development. Obviously, we know that Director Samolis recently resigned, and we are now looking at the department since the land use department is now up and running. We wanted to make sure that the job description was actually indicative of what would really the responsibilities and the needs of the city were as far as community and economic development. So we have some updates here, but I want the mayor actually to he can probably explain it best.
Thank you, Justin, and thanks again, everybody, for being together to consider these. And this, as Justin sort of teed up, this is sort of another minor change. I would characterize it to reflect the new mission of the department. I think I characterize it as a minor change from the job that Joe had been doing when he left. It is a more significant change from the job that Joe had before we split the department. And that's really what this is sort of updated to reflect. So a few years ago, the council added a requirement for a planning license and AICP to this position because it was supervising planning and zoning operations and staff, and was serving as staff to the planning and zoning committee as well. That is no longer the case. That has all been moved into the land use department, where Mark Kozakowski as director has all of those certifications, and this department reconstituted as in its title is focused on economic and community development. So the planning license was never really, or is no longer really relevant to the position. So that really kind of needs to come out to be able to appropriately recruit for it and fill it. We are eliminating the bullet points that are now made redundant by again, the split of the department. So it's no longer serving as staff to Planning and Zoning Commission. We've updated just some of the language to reflect, to just modernize the language a little bit. We incorporated specific references to the riverfront master plan, which will be a major duty for the position. Updated the addition of the parking department, which also happened as part of that departmental reorganization last year. And there was one other minor thing that I wanted to highlight. We're removing the responsibility for, part of the responsibility for management of city properties and maintenance of city properties, because we are transitioning that into Public Works with the newly created position in the budget that was just adopted for superintendent of city facilities. So that job description is yet to be finalized and will be coming before you. But that is where we plan to house those responsibilities in the future. And I still feel like there was one more thing I wanted to highlight, but I will stop there and happy to answer any questions.
I think you hit it all.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions on Director of Economic and Community Development? Go ahead, Linda. Yep.
Is there a change in salary?
No, no
sorry.
change in salary. No change in salary. This is also a unionized position, so we also had to get union to agree with this. The only minor change that we had was the certification, and that certification played actually no role in its degree weight of like net weight of like its grade.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Nacera. Go ahead. I think you were trying.
Yeah, I fully see what the mayor is referring to. You know, the clean up the reporting structure because we reorganize. So I fully support the purpose of the position statement. It's really the main change.
Well, it's all of these changes throughout are ones that are minor enough to not really impact the duties very much as in practice, but important enough that they technically do have to be changed and updated in the job description. So
yeah, and this one was revised in 2020, so it's very recent. So all the current initiatives are pretty much all of them are already in here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Councilwoman, with your permission, I'll go on to the final.
Please do. Thank you.
The last on our list is the Director of Health and Vital Statistics. There are actually just honest and simple changes in this one that are basic. I think, how do I explain it? The job description was very old, and it was written 21 years ago, and I think even before that
2001.
it might have been older. It talked about providing physicals and accident investigations, things that are no longer required of that position or of our former director of health after I think he stopped practicing medicine or 10 something years ago. In also doing so, we took the liberty of looking at the state statute, which governs the requirements for directors of health, especially for populations over 40,000 in people. So Middletown falls into a very specific subset of requirements. We took the liberty of looking at the job descriptions, minimum training and requirements. Those have actually changed, so we updated those as well to be consistent with the statutory language. Some other things were just the initiatives and programs that were kind of antiquated in the jobs description itself. It does a lot more than it used to do 21 years ago. So that's being more reflective in the duty updates. That's it. Mayor, I'm not sure if you have anything you want to include.
Just that I would say that the department is, as Justin said, it's moved more towards a different kind of mission and purpose, and one of those is community public health. And our, my and Kevin's vision for that department is to become more oriented, even more so oriented in that direction, and continue some of the work that began during the pandemic, and it deserves to continue. And so that's incorporated somewhat into this, as just as the the requirements for performing physicals and that sort of thing have been taken out.
Through the chair, and when we revised this, and I see it was March 2001, so it was a long time ago. So we obviously look at the current state requirements, so we haven't left anything out?
No. This
Okay.
conforms with the exact language almost of the statute.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
I think that the previous one didn't actually have any reference to any state requirements, and there may not have existed in the same way at that time. So, so that's all been added.
All right. Thank you.
That's it.
Excellent. So
good to me.
Yeah. Can we actually vote on these all together? We have to take them one by one.
Up to you. You can't do them all. You can do item A, B, C, D, and E, or you can do item A, vote, item B, vote, however you choose.
Yeah, so we did A, but happy to, unless Linda or Jean, you have any objections, I'm happy to do them all together. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
All right, so then I'll take a motion, I guess I'll just read it, to approve the job descriptions for Director of Public Works, Deputy Director of Public Works, Director of Economic and Community Development, and Director of Health.
So moved. Councilman Nocera.
Seconded, Councilman Maslafia. Any further discussion on those? All right, all in favor of approving those 4 job descriptions, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor and Justin, for all the information on those.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. It's great to see these now completed, and we can move forward to the next step, which is finding, getting people in these positions.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. So then unless there's something else, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Seconded, Councilman Slapia. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All righty.
Thanks, everyone. I apologize for the delay.
Thanks for hopping on.
Fun.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.